Hello, football fans. We are ready for NFL picks for week number 12 in the league where they play for pay. And let's get right to it. Week number 12, 4 teams have a bye this week. Minnesota on a bye, they're up to 8-3, had the big comeback against Denver. Minnesota a game back of Green Bay for the division, and they play Green Bay one more time in Minnesota. Arizona on a bye, they're down to 3-7-1, lost a tough game to San Francisco. That's been the story with Arizona this year. Very competitive, but losing the close games. I do like what the quarterback is doing, though. Kansas City up to 7-4, they're on a bye this week. They beat the Chargers in Mexico. Very important win for the Chiefs. They get the interception at the end. And the Chargers, who I just mentioned, on a bye. They're down to 4-7. Their season is over as they lose to the Chiefs in Mexico. Phillip Rivers, 7 interceptions the last 2 games. Same old Chargers, same old Rivers, finding ways to lose. So the Chargers on a bye this week. All right, week number 12. Let's get to pick number 1. Let's go down to New Orleans. The Superdome. Mardi Gras. Fat Tuesday. Who dat? One more time. Who dat? Is who dat back? They could be back. As the New Orleans Saints are -9 against the Carolina Panthers. New Orleans up to 8-2. Beat Tampa Bay. I wanted to see how New Orleans responded after that horrible loss at home to Atlanta a couple weeks ago. They did respond in a positive way, took care of Tampa Bay. New Orleans up to 8-2. Carolina, they've turned into a pumpkin. The clock has struck midnight on the backup quarterback Allen. He was flat out awful against Atlanta, as the Panthers are now 5-5 and they're out of it. The NFC is very tough. There's no way Carolina's making the playoffs. They have turned into a pumpkin. The clock has struck midnight on Allen. Newton done for the year. Carolina did some nice things for a while with the backup, but they're sliding in the wrong direction. This is a perfect 3-team teaser game. You move the line to pick them, and you have to like the Saints. You can't like Carolina here. They're falling apart. Quarterback had 4 interceptions last week. No way New Orleans is losing back-to-back home games. By the way, someone asked me at the library last week for my 3-team teaser picks last week. And I said, take Oakland, take Minnesota, and take Dallas. Winner. Hope he cashed in. I'll talk to him in a couple days. But this is a perfect 3-team teaser game. You move the line to pick them, you take the Saints. You got to like the Saints here. That's pick number 1. Pick number 2. Let's go to the dog pound in Cleveland. The Cleveland Browns are -10 over the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins down to 2-8. Lost to Buffalo. Defense got coughed up. Cleveland up to 4-6, beat Pittsburgh, and then all that nonsense at the end of the game. Cleveland has actually played some good football the last couple of weeks. Now they got a couple of guys suspended. But again, like the first game, perfect 3-team teaser game where you get 9 points. You can move this line down to 1. You have to like Cleveland at home. Even with all the shenanigans and the suspensions, you have to think Cleveland has too much for Miami at home, and Cleveland has looked a lot better the last couple of weeks. I think they have more than enough to take care of Miami at home. Cleveland's pick number 2 in a 3-team teaser. Pick number 3. Let's go to the jungle in Cincinnati, where the Pittsburgh Steelers are -6 against the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals 0-10. Lost to Oakland. Defense tried to keep him in the game. Offense did nothing. Backup quarterback doing nothing. Dalton still on the bench. Still no A.J. Green. Bengals right now 0-10 have the worst record in football. They have the number 1 pick. We'll see about Tua, though, now. He has that serious injury. Who knows if he's even coming out. If he does, if he will still be the number 1 pick. But right now, and we wish Tua well, by the way, right now the Bengals have the worst record in football. That is hard to believe the Bengals are this bad at 0-10. Pittsburgh, they're down to 5-5. They lost to Cleveland. Didn't play well at all in that Thursday night game. Again, I would move the line to pick them in this game in a 2-team teaser. You have to like the Steelers here. These 2 teams played about a month ago on Monday Night Football, and the Steeler defense just shut down the Bengals, just bamboozled them the whole night. The Bengals couldn't move the ball from here to there, and the Steelers blew them out. I know the Steelers aren't great, and the Bengals are due for a win. Eventually they're going to win a game, but I think the Steeler defense has enough to carry the day here, just like in the first meeting. The Steeler defense should dominate this awful Bengal offense, and that should be enough to win a sloppy, ugly game in the jungle. I like Pittsburgh in a two-team teaser. That is pick number 3. Pick number 4. Let's go to the Windy City in Chicago, Soldier Field, one of my favorite stadiums in all of the NFL, with the Chicago Bears a -7 against the New York Football Giants. Giants 2-8 coming off a bye. Bears down to 4-6, lost to the Rams. It's the same old story with the Bears. Their offense is just putrid, just abysmal. They can't get anything done on offense. They only give up 17 points for the game, but they only score 7. You can't win in the NFL when you score 7 points. And again, and not to harp on Mr. Pinheiro, the kicker, but he missed 2 kicks in the beginning of that game that could have gave the Bears a 6-0 lead. Instead, he misses 2 kicks, and again, the Bears do nothing on offense pretty much the rest of the game. And Pinheiro, why do they have so much faith in this guy? This is the guy a few weeks ago against the Chargers that they were taking knees, moving the ball back because they had so much confidence in Pinheiro making that kick, right? We know how that turned out, and he's still missing kicks. Get rid of Mr. Pinheiro. Oh my goodness, the Bear kicking situation has just been atrocious this year. And their offense, awful. Quarterback play, dismal. Coaching staff, terrible job with the play calling. And the defense, it's a good defense. It's not the 85 Bears. They're not going to win the game for you on their own. You're putting too much pressure on them. Oh, the Bears, 4-6. 4-6. Ah. As much as I'd love to pick against Chicago, and I don't like them, I like the Giants even less. The Giants are 2-8. They should have really lost to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay missed a chip shot field goal at the end. So the Giants' only real victory to me is over Washington, and Washington downright smells. I have no faith in the Giants at all. Barkley's hurt. The bad defense should dominate the Giants. They have no excuse here, the Bears. They should even get some things on offense get some things done on offense in this game. Chicago should not lose to the Giants in their building. Again, perfect two-team teaser game. Move the line to 1 and take the Bears. If the Bears are ever going to win a game, it's going to be here. You have to be able to handle the New York Football Giants at 2-8 in your building. Come on, Chicago. You can beat the Giants, right? Chicago two-team teaser. That's pick number 4. Pick number 5. A great game here. Let's go up to Foxborough with the New England Patriots a -7 against the Dallas Cowboys. New England up to 9-1, held on and beat Philadelphia. Defense really did a number on the Eagles, held them down just about the whole game. I know that Brady's complaining about the offense. New England's more of a defensive team now. Defense will keep them in the game most times. Struggling a little bit on offense. I still think they're going to figure it out. This is where Antonio Brown would have really helped the Patriots. If you had Antonio Brown to the Patriots, you were going to have something special there. But Antonio Brown, as we know, he just went crazy. Not once, twice, 3, but 4 times Antonio Brown went crazy, and now he's not in the league at all. So he would have really helped them. So New England struggling on offense, but their defense will keep them in the game. As far as New England, -7 over Dallas. Dallas 6-4, beat Detroit. Dallas offense looking good as far as the passing game. Quarterback playing well, receivers playing well. Elliott not doing much running the ball. But I'd like to see Dallas pick up the defense a little bit. Defense is not playing championship defense. They're giving up too many points for my liking. I mean, in order to win the Super Bowl, Dallas is going to have to play a little better defense. I mean, Detroit without Stafford, they almost put up 30 on them. Minnesota kind of coughed them up. So Dallas is a good team. But I think if they're going to be a great team, that defense has to play better. This is a fabulous game. I think it's going to be a close game. So I'm going to move the line to 13 and take Dallas and feel very comfortable that way. I mean, I'm getting 13 points with Dallas. Very important game. Dallas is only a game ahead of the Eagles, for the division. You have to think this game is coming down to the end. Very good game. Must watch. I'll take Dallas plus 13 to at least keep it close. That's pick number 5. How about them Cowboys? Pick number 6. Another good game here. Let's go to Santa Clara with the San Francisco 49ers, a -3 against the Green Bay Packers. San Francisco up to 9-1, beat Arizona. They rallied late. Green Bay 8-2. They are on a bye. This is a fascinating game because Green Bay's only a game ahead of Minnesota for the division, and San Francisco, despite being 9-1, is only a game ahead of Seattle for the division. Remember, Seattle beat San Francisco in San Francisco. The next time they play will be in Seattle. San Francisco could conceivably go 14-2 and be a wild card team if they lose to Seattle twice. Now I know a lot of things got to happen, but that's how tough things are going between Seattle and San Francisco right now. This is a very good game. I think it's a field goal game. I think it's coming down to the last kick. So I'm going to move the line to 9 and take Green Bay. I think it's coming down to the wire. I think maybe the last team with the ball wins this game. I think it's a field goal either way. It's a really tight game. Impossible game to pick straight out. So I'm going to move the line to 9 and a 2-team teaser and feel very comfortable that way. Very good game, though. By the way, since I'm talking about San Francisco, how many people are tired of hearing about Colin Kaepernick? And I'm going to leave the political side of this out of it and his message and all that. I don't like to mix politics and sports. Us sports fans, we don't need politics and politicians when we're watching our game. So I'm going to leave all that aside. I'm talking about just from a football standpoint. I've had enough of Colin Kaepernick and hearing Colin Kaepernick stories. Colin Kaepernick held a workout over the weekend. Who cares? ESPN tried to jam this down our throat over the weekend. First of all, they said 25 plus teams were going to show up. 8 did. And then ESPN's giving me the round by round of Kaepernick. You know, he's in his car on his way to the workout. He's getting out of his car. Who is this guy? Who is Colin Kaepernick? Colin Kaepernick hasn't been in the league in 3 years. And a few years before that, when he was in the league, he didn't play well. Now we're talking about 5 years plus since he's even played decently, and we're still talking about Colin Kaepernick. Who cares about Colin Kaepernick? Who cares that he's working out in some training facility? First of all, they changed that. It was supposed to be the Atlanta Falcons training facility. Then they moved it. Then the time moved. And ESPN is giving you like the round by round. Like they're covering Ali Frazier here. Get real, ESPN. We don't care as football fans about Colin Kaepernick anymore. And I'm leaving the political side and the message aside. I'm talking about him as a quarterback. He hasn't been in the league in 3 years, and before that he wasn't any good. And he had a chance to sign a couple contracts and he didn't do it. And if this was Russell Wilson and he was playing great, believe me, he'd have a job. Antonio Brown, with all his antics, will get a job next year because he can still play. Colin Kaepernick can't play anymore. He was terrible his last few years in the league, and he hasn't been in the league in 3 years. Why do we care about him? Why is ESPN jamming him down my throat? Who cares about some workout? It's week 12. What are we talking about here? Colin Kaepernick's going to go where? He's going to go where? He's going to go to Carolina and save the day for the Panthers? Give me a break. This is a joke now. This is a joke. I've had enough of it. I've had enough of it. Enough Colin Kaepernick. And I loved him when he first came in the league. He did some great things. They were a hair away from winning the Super Bowl against Baltimore, but he fell off after that. And teams don't want to go near him now because, first of all, he's been out of the league for 3 years. He didn't play well his last couple of years in the league, and then you got to deal with all that other stuff. Teams don't want to go near him, and who cares about him right now? He's been out of the league since 2016. He's holding a workout in week 12. Get real. Us football fans, we don't care about this kind of stuff. And like I said, I'm leaving the message and the political stuff out of it. We don't care about that either as football fans. We care about football. not sideshows. Oh my goodness. Why don't he go to the Canadian Football League and play up there? I'm sure they'd take him. They took Johnny Manziel. They won't take Kaepernick. And by the way, I cover local high school sports here in my town. I was at a local high school football game over the weekend, and somebody had a Johnny Manziel jersey. And they were telling me how Johnny Manziel is their favorite player, and they think he's going to make a comeback in the NFL. Are you kidding me? Johnny Manziel is going to make a comeback in the NFL? He's one of the most overrated players in the history of NFL football. I said, good luck with that. I mean, I'm sorry to get off track here. You know I get off track a little bit, but I had to mention Kaepernick. I'm tired of that. And Johnny Manziel? Maybe Kaepernick and Manziel can play up in the Canadian Football League against each other. Maybe someone up there will care about that. We don't care about Colin Kaepernick anymore, and we don't care about Johnny Manziel. I mean, we just don't, as far as football goes. Enough is enough. I don't want to hear about workouts. I don't want to hear about any of this nonsense. It's a joke. Absolute joke. And ESPN trying to ram that down my throat and telling me 25 plus teams were going to show up and only 8 did? I can't even believe 8 did. Oh my goodness. Get real. It's week 12. We're heading towards the playoffs. We don't need to hear about Colin Kaepernick, who hasn't played since 2016. Enough! That's pick number 6. Pick number 7. Let's go to Philadelphia. Another good game here with the Philadelphia Eagles -3 against the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle 8-2 off a bye. I just talked about them. They're only a game behind the Niners, and they beat San Francisco this year, so everything's still in play for Seattle. Philadelphia down to 5-5. Tough loss to New England. Got off to a good start. Didn't get much done on offense at all. Had a chance to tie the game late. Dropped the pass in the end zone. So Philadelphia drops to 5-5 and a game behind Dallas, and they've already lost to Dallas. So Philadelphia's got to really start to put some things together right now. They've been very inconsistent. I'm going to move, like the last game, I'm going to move the line to 9 and take Seattle. You have to think this is a close game. Seattle is in nothing but close games. They've won nothing but close games this year. Why would I think this would be any different? So to me, if you're going to play this game, move it to 9 and take Seattle. You got to feel comfortable about that. And again, I'm going to go on another rant here. And I just happen to think of this because this could be a Fox game. I've also had enough of Aaron Andrews. Enough Aaron Andrews. I can't take any more of her. I went over to my friend's house the other day, and his wife has on Dancing with the Stars. And by the way, if you want your IQ to drop, watch Dancing with the Stars or any sort of reality TV show or any of that nonsense, The Voice, to this, to that. Anything on regular TV pretty much will drop your IQ. That's why we watch sports. There is some real garbage on TV. I didn't realize Aaron Andrews was the host of Dancing with the Stars. So being the Fox sideline reporter isn't good enough. You got to host Dancing with the Stars also? Talk about greedy. Greedy. Talk about your hand in a lot of cookie jars, Aaron Andrews. And I'm tired of her and her act too. Oh my goodness. I've had enough Aaron Andrews. And another one I'm sick of. I don't know if you guys watch college football. Maria Taylor. She was an ex-volleyball player. They have her on College Game Day for the college football. I'm flipping around the other night, I think it was Friday, and there she is on Friday doing an NBA show. So not only does she do all the college football with College Game Day, she does an NBA show the night before. This is typical of ESPN and all these networks. The same people they jam down your throat. Aaron Andrews, Maria Taylor, Stephen A. Smith, Joe Buck. I mean, it goes on and on. The same people they jam down your throat. They can't just do one thing. Maria Taylor can't just do college football. Oh, no, she's got to do the NBA the night before as well. Stephen A. Smith can't just do the NBA. Now he's a football guru. Now he's a UFC guru. He knows boxing. He knows gymnastics. He knows this. He knows that. He knows it all. He's on this talk show, that talk show. Enough. I don't need to see Joe Buck on the World Series and the Super Bowl. Spread the wealth around and give some other people a chance. Oh my goodness, to see the same people over and over again. Erin Andrews on the sidelines of the NFL, and she's doing Dancing with the Stars. Maria Taylor doing NBA and college football. Stephen A. Smith doing 800 things. Joe Buck doing a million things. Enough. Spread the wealth. Spread the wealth. Give somebody else a chance. Anyway, I know I'm off track. I'm sorry. Seattle, +9, pick number 7. Pick number 8. Let's go to the Meadowlands in New Jersey, not too far from here, with the Oakland Raiders. They're -3.5 against the New York Football Jets. Jets up to 3-7, beat Washington. Jets have won 2 in a row. By the way, last week I said when Washington was favored, on general principle, you had to take the Jets. Bingo. Oakland up to 6-4, beat Cincinnati. Not very impressive, but they did get the win. Everything in play for Oakland. The division, wild card, everything's right there for them. This is a very funny game. Because I think Oakland in 2 weeks has Kansas City. Very funny game. I'm going to take a chance here and move the line to 9.5 and take the Jets. If there's ever a time to take the Jets, it might be here. They've won 2 in a row. They've looked better. They're home. Raiders got a lot of injuries right now. Maybe they're peeking ahead to that Chief game. This could be one of those classic, pitfall games, one of those sandwich games. I'm going to take a chance with the Jets. Not saying they're going to win, but I'm going to take a chance with them. They have covered for me the last 2 weeks. So out of respect for them making me some money the last 2 weeks, I'll take the Jets here +9.5. That would be a 2-team teaser game. Get the 6 points, move it to 9.5. That's pick number 8. Pick number 9. Let's go to the dreaded Thursday night football game, and this game should not be on Thursday night football. It should not be on Thursday night football. Houston Texans at home, -3.5 against the Indianapolis Colts. Texans down to 6-4, got blasted by Baltimore. Indianapolis up to 6-4, beat Jacksonville. Brissett's playing, Hilton banged up, Mack banged up, so we don't know about who's going to be on the field for the Colts. A lot of moving parts. This division is so hard to predict. I tell you to stay away from betting this division. This game is for first place. Why is this on Thursday night? First of all, why is there Thursday night football? And why is this game on Thursday night? This is for first place. This game is too important. Too important. The Colts have a lot of injuries. They play on Sunday, and 4 days later they're in Houston. The coaches hate it. The players hate it. But the NFL likes it because, again, greedy. Greedy. I want more money. I want more football. Gimme, 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 gimme. It's not good enough that the NFL controls all day and night on Sunday and all night Monday. And at the end of the year, they have Saturday games. Nope, they got to get the Thursday games in. Let's play a game in London and Mexico and Canada and here and there and everywhere. The NFL prints money. They don't need any more money, and yet they continue to be greedy and they water down their product. You know why? Because the NFL is greedy. 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 And if you watch the quality of the games on Thursday Night Football, the quality of play is poor. You're asking the players to do something they're not used to doing. To play 2 games in 4 days is not natural. Again, the coaches hate it. The players hate it. I don't know what the fans feel. I can't stand it. Fans are probably 50-50 on it. But the NFL loves it. Greedy, greedy, greedy. Give me more, give me more, give me more. It's bad football. Did you see the way the Steelers played last week? Did you see the way the Broncos played a few weeks ago on Thursday Night Football? Did you see the Raider-Charger game with all those penalties? The quality of play is abysmal. That's not good for the game. Not good for the game. And this game is too important to be played on a Thursday night. And here's another thing. If you're home on Thursday night, you can't be home on Sunday. They've done that a bunch of times this year, the NFL. The home team on Sunday is also the home team on Thursday. Too much advantage. As they said in Karate Kid, too much advantage, you're Tojo. Ridiculous. Do away with Thursday Night Football. I don't need it. Football fans don't need it. We get enough football. There's college football every day of the week. There's college football on Saturday. There's NFL 2 days of the week, besides the Thursday night game. And at the end of the year, you get the Saturday games. We don't need it. It's poor football. Keep the 2 Thanksgiving games in Dallas and Detroit because it means so much to those cities. And how you work those 2 games? You play a game, then a bye week, then the teams involved in the Thanksgiving games play back-to-back Thursdays, and then you go to your regular schedule. That keeps everyone on schedule. No one has a huge advantage, and Dallas and Detroit are happy. And they deserve those games on Thanksgiving. The rest of it can go. I don't need a Thursday night game, and I don't need these games during the year. This should not be a Thursday night game. It's too important. If I had to play this game and the Colts are healthy, and I don't know if they're going to be, I don't know about Hilton or Mack, Brissett will play, I would move it to 9.5 and take the Colts. Colts beat them the first time. You have to think the game's close, but again, who's in, who's out for the Colts, and I don't bet Thursday Night Football to begin with. But for those that do, keep an eye on the injury report. If all the Colts are healthy, move it to 9.5 and take the Colts. It's a very important game. It should be a Sunday night game or a Monday night game, not a Thursday night game. Do away with Thursday night football. The quality of play is poor. You're watering down your product. Go look at some of the performances by some of the teams on Thursday night football. Go look at how Pittsburgh looked. Go look at how Denver looked against Kansas City a few weeks ago. Go look at the Charger-Oakland game. Although it was close, although it came down to the end, it was sloppy. And that's what you get on Thursday night. Sloppy, bad football. But the NFL and some fans, gimme, I want. Greedy. It's pick number 9. Pick number 10 is the Monday Night Football game. Let's go out to Los Angeles with the Baltimore Ravens, a -3 against the LA Rams. Rams up to 6-4, beat Chicago. Rams have become a defensive team now. They have a good defense. Offense can't get anything done. I mean, they got some good players on offense, but the offensive line is not any good. So the Rams are now becoming more of a defensive team, kind of like New England. Never would have said that at the beginning of the year. Rams are 6-4. They're still in it, but the NFC is so tough. They really can't afford any more slip-ups, the Rams. They really can't. And the NFC is a lot tougher than the AFC. The AFC, to me, is New England and Baltimore, everyone else. The NFC's got at least 5 teams that can get to the Super Bowl. NFC top to bottom as far as the playoff teams, much stronger than the AFC. Baltimore on absolute fire. 8-2, bombed Houston. In the last month, Baltimore has beaten Houston, Seattle, and New England. Impressive. They're a game behind New England for best record in the AFC, and that may decide who gets to the Super Bowl, who gets that best record. Baltimore is playing lights out right now. Jackson is on fire. And like Seattle, no one does a better job with personnel than Baltimore. Every year they get something done. Every single year, even when you think Seattle and Baltimore are not going to have good years, they always respond. They are both professional organizations. Excellent job by Baltimore. Normally, I would take the underdog, move it to 9 in a 2-team teaser. Baltimore's too hot. I'll take Baltimore in a money line here. And again, I probably won't play this game, but if I had to play it, Baltimore money line. They're just too hot right now. You can't go against them. And the Rams, they're not scoring that many points, and the Ravens are just rolling through teams. Again, beginning of the year, I saw the spread. I take the Rams, move it to 9, feel happy that way. Not now. Baltimore's too hot. Baltimore's too hot. This is all about the Ravens in this game. They are too hot. Money line Baltimore. Let's pick number 10. And one more thing. The Monday Night Football crew, Tessitore and Boogie, you know, there was a huge play in the game last night. At the end of the game, Rivers threw a bomb, made the catch down at the 25-yard line. The guy was touched before he went out of bounds, but the clock stopped. Neither Tessitore or Boogie McFarland mentioned it. Instead, the guest referee, one of the ex-referees, had to chime in and say, guys, this clock should be running right now. He was touched. The problem I have with Tessitore and Boogie McFarland is Tessitore is always exacerbating something. He concentrates so much on making every play in every game the greatest in history that he misses the small stuff like that. That's the stuff he should be talking about. You shouldn't have the third guy, the guest ex-referee, coming in there and correcting you on that. And then Boogie, he just states the obvious. There'll be 10 seconds left in the game and the team's down by 4, and he'll say something like, Joe, this is the biggest play of the ball game. Well, thanks, Boog. We didn't know that. We didn't know this was the biggest play of the ballgame. So he states the obvious all the time. And then Tessitore is always, everything's the greatest play in the history of sports. And then he misses the little things like he did last night. He's too busy telling me that Gordon jumped over someone and, had a 2-yard gain. And he thought it was the greatest play in sports history. Oh my goodness, get a clue last night. The guy was clearly touched inbounds. Neither one of them picked up on it. Neither one of them, because they're too busy with their own nonsense all the time. Oh, anyway, that's pick number 10. That's Monday Night Football. All right, pick number 11. And these last 4 picks, I wouldn't spend a lot of money on these games, but I'll pick them just for the sake of the show. Pick number 11, let's go to Nashville, Tennessee, with the Tennessee Titans, a -3 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville down to 4-6, got bombed by Indianapolis. I'll tell you, Jacksonville, the bloom is off the rose for them. Remember a couple years ago, they almost made the Super Bowl? Still got quarterback problems. Defense is not what it was. They were awful last week. Awful. Tennessee, they're 5-5. They're coming off a bye. They're still alive for some things. They have looked better with Tannehill at quarterback. I think Mariota could be a bust. Tennessee at home -3 against Jacksonville. Listen, if I had to play this game, or for what I saw from Jacksonville last week, I would go moneyline Tennessee. But again, I don't like to play this division. It's very tricky. You don't know what you're getting week to week with these teams. If I had to play it for purposes of the show, I say Tennessee gets through here, but I'll tell you, it's a sloppy, ugly mess, this game. But how could you possibly trust Jacksonville after what you saw last week? They got bombed by the Colts, just bombed by the Colts. And what happened to this big, bad Jacksonville defense we all heard about? They're nothing anymore. So I'd go Tennessee there, pick number 11 if I had to. Pick number 12, let's go down to D.C. And I'm not going on a road trip this week, but if I was, my bags would be packed for this one. Detroit, -3 in Washington. Yeah, I'm not joking, folks. Detroit, -3 in Washington. Detroit down to 3-6-1, lost to Dallas. Their season's falling apart. No Stafford. How about Washington, 1-9, got bombed at home by the New York Football Jets. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. I don't know what to make of Haskins because the team is so bad. I don't know how you're going to even evaluate him. I really don't. The team is abysmal. He made one throw last week where he was going to his left and threw it across the field. He looked like Aaron Rodgers. But for a lot of the game, he looked like Mr. Rodgers. And like I said, very hard to evaluate him because this team is dreadful. I mean, downright dreadful. They got bombed at home by the Jets. Oh, like I said, no road trip this week, but if I was, it would be back to D.C. for another week. I mean, this game is just a slop bowl. If I had to pick it, I'd take Detroit money line. I mean, at least Detroit shows me a pulse. At least they're kind of in the games. Washington's getting blown out by the Jets. At least Detroit's hanging around even with the backup quarterback. I mean, so if I had to, I'd pick Detroit. But again, don't spend too much money on this game. That's pick number 12. Pick number 13, let's go down to Atlanta, where the Atlanta Falcons are -4.5 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay down to 3-7, lost to New Orleans. Winston banged up. We'll see about him. How about Atlanta the last couple of weeks? What's gotten into them? They're up to 3-7. Beat Carolina. 2 straight weeks the defense has been awesome. We couldn't find the Atlanta defense for the first 2 months of the year. But the last 2 weeks, they shut down New Orleans, shut down Carolina on the road. Give up 3 points to Carolina, 9 points to New Orleans, not giving up any touchdowns. I know they fired a couple of coaches, but that's all you got to do to turn your team around? A couple of coaches get fired, and now all of a sudden they're a defensive juggernaut? The Falcons? What's going on here? Again, this is just an awful mess of a game. I wouldn't go anywhere near this, but again, like the last 2 games, if I had to pick a game, off the last 2 weeks, I would take Atlanta money line. I mean, Atlanta's shown me something the last 2 weeks. They're not giving up any points. You know, their offense can get some things done with Ryan and Julio Jones. You would have to take Atlanta here if you had to go with the game just because how good they looked the last 2 weeks. But again, don't spend too much money on that game. So that's pick number 13. And pick number 14, let's go up to Buffalo, where the Buffalo Bills are -6 against the Denver Broncos. Denver down to 3-7, lost to Minnesota, had a big lead in that game, let it slip away. Denver's been in a lot of close games this year and lost just about all of them. Buffalo up to 7-3, beat Miami pretty handily. This is a game I could see going either way in a 2-team teaser. To me, if you asked me who was going to win, I'd say Buffalo finds a way at home to win and Denver finds a way to lose. There is a case for Denver +12 because they've been in a lot of close games, and Buffalo's usually in close games also, although last week they did win by 17, but that's against Miami. Denver is definitely better than Miami. But again, I wouldn't spend a lot of time on these last few games. I try and rank the games in order on how I pick them from, my top plays, and these last few games would be, games I don't love that much. I try and put them in some sort of order. It's very difficult, but I wouldn't go near those last 4 games at all. I mean, the Tennessee-Jacksonville game, Detroit-Washington, Atlanta-Tampa, Buffalo-Denver, those are very spotty games. And as we get to, the end of the year, maybe be leaning towards the favorites for most of the games because, of how much the games mean at the end of the year. Some of these games, like how could you possibly take Cincinnati this week? You know what I'm saying? How could you possibly take them? They have no wins. Pittsburgh's still alive for stuff, so it's hard to take some of these teams. It really is. It's hard to take the Giants. It's hard to take Miami. It's hard to take Cincinnati. It's hard to take Carolina. I mean, it's hard to take Jacksonville, Washington, Tampa, or Denver. It's hard to take those teams this time of the year. All right, so there you go. You guys are all caught up. You guys are all set. Stay happy, healthy, and safe. Pick a lot of winners. Make a lot of money. I'll be back with you guys Tuesday for Thanksgiving week. Thanks as always for the support. I'll talk to you guys Tuesday. Take care.